I want to talk about one of the other experiments we ran. We, at great expense, obtained a national voter file, and we used it to determine people who may have been registered here, moved to another state, registered to vote there, I believe invalidating their residency or inability to vote here, and then cast a ballot back here. Because, we all have anecdotes, right? We've all heard crazy stories. I've had people, since this project has started, emailing me stories about the sister-in-law or brother-in-law they don't like, they suspect they may have cast 2 ballots. They want me to look into it and giving me their full addresses and dates of birth. Or I've also received, though, screenshots of social media profiles saying this person, they live in New York City. They've lived here a long time, but they figured their vote wouldn't really matter in New York City, but it would matter back in Arizona. So there's anecdotes, right? I don't think it's ever possible to maybe get enough of those anecdotes to have a meaningful number. But what we did is we took our national voter file and looked at registration dates there. And then we looked at the registration dates of people we matched it to in Arizona, where they moved from Arizona to California, for example, registered to vote there, and then decided they shopped their ballot, potentially, or they had the ballot cast in their name, and decided, you know what, my vote might count more in Arizona than it does in California, swing state. So we were able to identify these individuals who had a subsequent registration out of state but cast their early absentee here. Again, just Maricopa County and just early absentee, no election day. We also did an NCOA analysis. And when people move from one state to another, the Postal Service sort of tracks that. Often people fill out an NCOA card saying, I've moved here, please forward my mail. It's a pretty good indicator. They've established residency somewhere else. And we found among this population a substantial number who NCOA to another state, but cast their ballot here. Now, I've kind of earned the reputation lately as kind of a data guy, but I work as a general consultant. I do all kinds of work around the country for candidates, everything from speeches to fundraising to designing literature. I've knocked on over 1,000 doors myself this cycle in states all over the country. And I can tell you that a lot of times, people are they move and they're very careful about where they can vote, where they can make potentially cast their vote, where they think if they have options, they make a choice, and sometimes they don't always make the right choice. So just in my experience of that, it's not that uncommon. So people move, but they can still vote here. They get an absentee request forwarded to them, and they cast the ballot. They shouldn't. When we combine those numbers together for your state, and we merge, and we take out some that we estimate to have been military moves, which they don't actually lose their ability to vote in the state, we came up with a total of about 5,700 or so, just Maricopa, just early absentees. We also identified a population of double voters. Now, what's unique about this is that, again, we're not looking at people who maybe voted in person in California and voted by mail here. We're only able, because of limited data in many states, to compare early absentee voters to early absentee voters in other states. So if they voted early absentee in Arizona and voted early absentee, for example, in California, they'd show up here. But if and when we get access to election day voter lists, we'll be able to, these numbers will inevitably go up. And also, we've got a lot of limitations on our ability to match. One of those limitations is the availability of full and accurate dates of birth from states on their voter lists. In a lot of cases, states will suppress that. And that prevents us from being able to get a successful match on somebody who moved out of state with a subsequent registration. Because for us, for our project, we can't be the voter integrity project without integrity, and that requires a very tight match. So we're sure it's not just somebody with the same name, or even somebody with the same name born in the same year, but it's got to be day, month, year exact as best we can. And we actually try to match on cell phones too when we're able to do that. So that kind of concludes the initial findings that I wanted to share with you about your state in particular. And I'd be happy to take any questions if you have them.
Mr. Mayor, do you want to ask this gentleman some questions?
You go ahead.
No? All right. Matt, I really appreciate you coming in. I know that you flew in, I think, late last night to make a short and succinct presentation. Can you tell me, relative to the work that you've done, with certainty, how many votes were cast that should not have been? Just a high-level number, because obviously For example, the Trump campaign would like to see 10,457 votes overturned. But, not to be exact, but are we there based on the work that you've done? Because as we look at your work and the work of other people, we're starting to chip away at that number in a pretty serious way.
I would say there's 2 levels of confidence I have, okay? The first level of confidence is very. And I'm very confident that we get very close to that number when we take the residency issues and then apply it to the other counties for which we weren't able to obtain data. The second level of confidence is where you take a number of projection. We go back out to low activity analysis and NCO analysis, which I'm not going to get in the weeds, but these are basically people telling us that they had votes, that they didn't cast votes that were cast in their name. If you're comfortable projecting these numbers to the population that we were trying to reach via phone that we just couldn't, I think then you reach another level of certainty that you're able to bridge that gap. So I think that I have a high degree of confidence that the number of ballots that were cast that should not have been cast, illegal ballots, surpasses the margin of victory as it stands right now.
Thank you very much.